Hello. Welcome to Marriage Minutes at His Pace.
Today we're going to talk about the seasons of marriage because definitely people change.
Seasons change. People change. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah. So people change, which means the marriage somewhat changes. And so how do you handle that?
Do you see those two young, spry, looking like America's Next Top Model folks? Wow, that was well over 15 years ago. Well, I'm just telling the truth.
Was it 15?
At least.
Yeah.
At least.
And I haven't changed at all, I know.
You haven't. That's because you have such a great wife. Anyway, what we are trying to communicate today through all of our silliness is that just like I still think we're pretty decent looking people, but we are different. I mean, I've got wrinkles that I didn't have before. I've got my dark circles are even darker. Mark definitely has some more freckles. We both added some inches in places that we don't want to mention. And I think that we were pretty cool then, but we didn't know anything about marriage at this time.
No, not at all.
We really didn't. We thought we did, but we really didn't. And we were even hanging around some people who probably had it together much better than we did, but we didn't know anything. And so one of the first things I want you all to do, if you reflect or think about your younger years, is to give yourself grace. First of all, you made it.
Still here.
Yeah, you're still here.
You're still running.
It's still possible. But congratulate yourself because, first of all, people don't make it in marriage to different seasons. You know, we've probably had 2 or 3 more seasons since these fine little young children.
We didn't even have Aaron.
No, I said it's like 15 years. But a lot of things have changed. We dealt with infertility. We dealt with financial issues. We've dealt with
death of a
parent. We've dealt with emotion. We've dealt with so many things since then. And while I think those people are pretty fine, I think these people are pretty all right because we've got a lot of wisdom under our belt. But it didn't come easy because I'm telling you, I was the first one to be hard-headed. And cannot tell you how many lessons I've had to relearn and redo and retake the test in this position called a wife because I did not appreciate the seasons and the changes. We are different. We're different people. And you cannot expect that you are going to respond the same way, act the same way as you did 15, 25, even 2 years ago.
Yeah. And I think a huge component is we feel changes in our lives. I mean, there may be different interests that come up, or there may be different things you want to do now that you are privy to because of your employment allows you to experience and see different things happening. But communicate.
Yeah.
You know, if you sit down and do vision boards, or if you sit down and do short-term goals, those goals are evolving. So if that is taking place, then that means that some knowledge of changes that are happening in our lives are apparent to each other as we sit down and discuss these things. But if we're not communicating and we're not sharing and growing intimacy together, because intimacy is not just physically being together and being intimate, but it's also doing those things that create this bond and this relationship. So if your recreational intimacy is different, like when we first got married, we used to work out all the time together.
Here we go.
But now we don't. So we've changed. She works on her own, I work on my own. I wasn't a runner when we first got married, and so she's gonna say I'm still not a runner, but I hold all the records in the house. So that's But what I'm saying is people evolve, and so we actually have to allow grace to evolve as well, and we have to communicate about what are the things that we see the world different now. But if you don't communicate, then all she has to go in is you don't run, and and things that happen. Her file on me is going to be the same as if the first day we got married versus, oh, you don't do that no more. So let me add this, because her file should be growing. The more years that she with me, the file that she has on me should be growing. So that means that she's taking notes. She's paying attention to how I'm evolving as a person, how I'm evolving as a husband, how I'm evolving as a father, so that her knowledge of what's taking place in my life is apparent to her. And then she's able to adapt to those changes. We're able to communicate about those changes. But when you don't do that, you don't really care about the person, or you're not keeping a file. You're just assuming.
Yeah. So basically, study your spouse.
Study your
but
spouse.
Know that your spouse is going to change. It is inevitable that we are going to change. And so you have to be flexible.
Right. He's wearing skinny jeans now.
or he's not.
Or he's not. Right. I ain't skinny jeans.
But I mean, a lot of things are different. Your sexual relationship is going to be different. When children come into the picture, you are going to have different times for one another. You're going to have to create spaces that you didn't have to create. You're going to have to do some stuff. You're going to, because your children are there. But then guess what? Another season is coming. They're going to be gone. We're going to be empty nesters in just 4 years?
I think we got a while.
4 or 5 years, something like that. So we have spent so much of these years pouring into Aaron and going to swim meets and going to violin, and then that's going to be gone. And so many people get to that empty nester phase and they end up not knowing.
And they're on E.
They're on E because they haven't invested in themselves.
Oh gosh, she go.
Right. So all I want to tell you is that be reasonable, that seasons are going to change, be flexible, study your spouse, and move and roll with the punches. It's going to happen. It's a blessing. Let me tell you this.
Because as much as they changing, you changing too.
And it's a blessing. It is a blessing to grow old with this man. He won't tell you, but I have known him since I was 14. And guess what? I love him more now. I thought I loved him at 14, 15 when he wasn't paying me no mind. He wasn't paying me a bit of attention. I thought that I loved it to him. Right now, I know that this is my ride or die. I know that as much as we fight, fuss, and argue, even a few minutes ago.
Yeah, before we did this video.
But I know that he, as well as I, we put too much time in this. We've invested too much in. It's like putting in your 401k. You've invested $200,000 of your own money in your 401k, and then you're gonna be like, "Nah, I'm out. Forget it." It's too much invested. It's cheaper to keep him. I'm saying that jokingly, but it is. You're too far in to turn back now.
And the world is crazy. So
it is. Do you want to start over?
Oh my God, no. Oh God, no.
I don't want to start over.
I don't want to start.
As hard as this gets sometimes, I am not starting.
I'm just gonna sit. I'm just sit in the corner and just rock like this. I am not starting over.
So appreciate your differences. Appreciate the seasons that you are in because you signed up for this. Nobody made you do it, I don't guess, unless you were a shotgun winner or something. You decided to do this.
Appreciate the growth. Because if they're changing, that means they're growing.
That's right. You cannot change without growth, and you cannot grow without change.
So,
for better or for worse, seasons change. Roll with them at his pace.
Be well, be blessed.